No one's going to be on here right away.
Oh.
I promise. See? Look.
But they're going to watch us later.
Yeah, they might.
Hi, everyone watching later.
Hi, everyone watching later. Hey, it's Friday! Woo! So
I'm Amy.
This is Amy. So let's wait for people so you can watch up here.
I'm a virgin to Facebook Live.
And I get to bring her on for her first experience.
Okay. A little weird.
It's a little odd. So as people come on, they can comment.
Oh!
See, someone's here. But they should comment and say hi in the comments.
Please.
Oh, they went away again. So
this is such an emotional journey already.
It is a very emotional journey to be on Facebook.
Oh, gosh.
Live. It's really sort of a fascinating place to be because you're doing this live, but then people watch it afterwards.
Yeah.
It's super interesting.
So good morning, good night, good evening, happy midnight.
Hi. Good to see
Yes.
you anytime. Amy and I find it incredibly awesome that we did not plan our outfits, and yet here we are showing off our shoulders because that's what you do in 2018. Go figure. So we're really happy that you have joined us here today. And I decided to do something a little bit different for this Facebook Live because Amy and I thought it was time to tell our stories. And we're both wearing our matching Don't Give Up, You Matter bracelets because this is how I met Amy. And we thought we would start by telling you the story of how we became friends and how we met.
Yeah.
So do you want to give it from your perspective?
Yeah, can I first tell you something?
You can tell me everything.
I'm super nervous.
Don't be nervous. Look, there's Heidi. Hi, Heidi.
Hi, Heidi.
Heidi's one of my friends from Utah.
Okay, I am
we
nervous.
have a very fascinating story about how we met, too. I'll tell you sometime.
Okay, here's why I'm nervous.
Okay, tell me.
We have, although we have friendship, like a context of trust and mutual love. And so our disagreements don't separate us. And we've chosen.
Yes.
That's part of our story. These people watching might be in your community and I'm not friends with them and they might hate me.
I don't think they're going to hate you because I have good people.
Okay.
So setting the stage here, this is the thing. As you can see from how I described the Facebook Live, Amy Wolff and I really aren't meant to be friends according to America.
Yeah.
But we are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So tell people how we met.
Okay. So last fall, we were both involved with the Superwoman Summit, which is back this fall.
In October.
Google that.
We're going to be there.
So we met there. I was a keynote speaker, and you were doing social media.
I was live tweeting.
Yeah,
because I didn't have enough money to buy the tickets. I decided to live tweet the event.
I'll tweet it for you. So we were there early. So there wasn't a lot of people yet.
Nobody was there.
Yeah, and you were sitting at a table, and we just struck up a conversation. It was fast.
It was fast.
But we had a lot in common.
Hey, Corey.
Hi, Corey. Really passionate about things. We kind of had a mutual.
I think we were talking because you had your cute little girl there.
Harper was with us.
Harper was with us, and so we were talking about being a mom.
Yeah. She's currently watching Netflix because I'm a good mom, and I do that when I'm doing these things.
Heidi said if Miss approves of you, we can be friends.
That's really encouraging.
These are my friends. Hi, Candace.
So we were at the table. We struck up a conversation. We just clicked. Really easy to talk with. So about a couple minutes later, I go on my phone, and I go on Facebook, and I search for you. And I find you.
This is where it gets good.
Yeah.
Yay.
So I find you, and I'm scrolling through her feed because then you stalk someone as soon as you friend them. And kid you not, 15 minutes prior, she posted something that made my heart just stop for a second. And
hey, see Renee.
It was about being pro-choice. And I'm pro-life.
And we're in a room together. And I don't know she's stalking me on Facebook. But here she is stalking me, and I'm all up in my Planned Parenthood business.
I hate Planned Parenthood. Never mind. We'll talk about that later. So,
we're working on that. Hate is a strong word.
I know, and I don't hate.
A strong word.
I don't hate many things. So I was immediately doubtful about whether we'd have a real friendship or a met you at that conference friendship, and we chose a real friendship.
We did,
and we've had hard conversation over good food. Mm-hmm. And we still really respect each other.
We do.
And so we decided the world needs more of this.
Mm-hmm. More of this.
And not that we're perfect.
Less of,
yeah.
This. And we're not perfect. So this is, I know how, I don't know if you've all noticed, but I am all about creating imperfect activists in the world because I think we need a whole lot more of us admitting our imperfections and what we're afraid of and what intimidates us, and a whole lot less of, well, you don't think like I do, so go away.
Yes.
Right. Which is where we actually ended up finding our mutual connection. So From my perspective.
Yeah. Did you stalk me?
I didn't.
Oh.
No. I mean, I got your card and I thought it was awesome, but I was too busy like figuring out the Twitter thing, so I didn't stalk you till later, honestly. But here I was, like, I met this woman, and I think I instantaneously launched into the, I don't know how I read that her vibe was Christian, but I did. Vibe.
Just Christian vibe.
And I started talking about how when I was in Utah, I used to put together these roundtables in my living room to bring in leaders of faith with the LGBT community to talk about what gay marriage was really like. And
I thought that was so good. So good.
And I think that's where Amy and I really decided to bond, was in my being, putting the B back in LGBT, and in really talking about how I'm willing to have complicated, difficult conversations with people who might not agree with me. Hey, Carrie, how are you? Look at all these people on our Facebook Live. It's so good. So one of the reasons I decided to do Facebook Live with Amy today is because,
I asked. Let's be honest.
Hey, do you want to do a live thing together?
Do you want to do live together?
Okay. Well, we've been trying to figure out how to do like a video of us like doing some really amazing things, but we could never find a production person. And I think sort of the universe and God and the divine goddess and all the things were like, no, you just need to sit together and have a chat. So we're sitting together to have a chat. And hey, Shani, how are you? So I'm going to start this off by, now that you all know how we met and who we are. So when I describe my friendship with Amy, who, by the way, is of the Don't Give Up Science movement, which we're going to talk about in a little bit. But I always talk about me and Amy as we should not be able to sit here together in a room and have conversation. I am pro-choice. Amy identifies herself as pro-life.
I'm straight.
Amy's straight. I'm bi, or queer. Probably
a list.
I vote Democrat.
I am not predictable in how I vote. But most of the time it's not been Democrat.
Yeah. And so we have all of these places where we don't intersect. Mm-hmm. And in America in 2018, of course, as we know, according to the powers that be, that should create this division that allows us not to talk.
We shouldn't be friends.
So why is it that you decided to push past my pro-choiceness and my love of Planned Parenthood?
Is this a surprise question?
No, it's not.
Oh, no.
Oh. This is not the... We both have surprise questions for each other. Hi, Sonia. So this is not your surprise
I'm sorry.
question.
Keep going.
But how is it that you decided to push past what you assumed I was to pursue a relationship with me as a friend?
This is a long journey for me. And to be honest, it feels vulnerable sharing.
I know.
Because,
share what you will.
Oh, open book. It just feels vulnerable.
Of course.
I grew up in a Christian home my whole life, which is a blessing to me. I feel like that's a gift. Mm-hmm. But what it does mean, and maybe some can relate to this, is that I stayed with people like me. You just run with people like you, that vote like you, think like you, faith like you, act like you. Yep. Don't curse, don't drink. Well, most of the time, don't drink. And so I grew up with people like me. And what that did is unintentionally built walls. And anytime someone that believed different, acted different, all those things, it felt like there was a wall and it felt really awkward. In fact, I just wrote a blog about the others.
Oh, yes. I'm going to post your blog in the links in the comments.
But that mindset, it wasn't a malicious thing. It just was from it wasn't even my upbringing, just kind of that mentality that happened.
Sure.
A couple years ago, a friend shared something with me, and it was really basically an example of two gay men really disagreeing on something very deeply personal, which is what scripture says about it, because they were both believers. And the way that they did not agree, but they respected each other was, to me.
Yeah. Like, blow your mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, you were like, oh, you can sit down and not agree about this on a very religious level, on a scriptural level.
And all this is, religion, sexuality, identity, all these are deeply emotional.
Right.
So to see them do it well, I thought, I have it wrong. Like, I got to be able to talk to people. I have to be able to honor and respect and still feel like I can be true to what I think and believe. Right? But have these open conversations.
Yeah.
So that was years and years ago. And it started my journey of trying to not find, because that sounds inauthentic.
Yeah.
But being open to unlikely friends.
And like, see, Renee Washington is saying here,
Yeah.
she says so many walls, like taking those walls and sort of peeking over the wall.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily have to take down the wall right away, but peeking over the wall. And I have been saying,
and vice versa.
Right. Vice versa. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, where I have actually started, so I have this complicated relationship with religion.
Mm-hmm.
I was raised Mormon until I wasn't, and raised in Utah, where I think for a lot of us, especially in the LGBT community in Utah, we sort of push religion away and we go, no, not going there.
Mm.
And so I recently, in the last couple of months, have sort of, well, actually, it's been about a year. We started going to the Episcopal Church in Corvallis, and I have had this very deep connection that has been unfolding with God and with what God is love, and all of these things have started happening to me. And so what I adore about our relationship is that I connect with you on a very spiritual level. And for me, I had this moment where I was like, why is Amy in my world? Like, when we finally became friends on Facebook, I was like, whoa.
So you did have a moment.
I did have a moment, but it took me a couple weeks because I was so busy doing other stuff. I was like, I should be friends with Amy Wolff. And then I was like, oh,
yeah,
whoa, I should not. What?
Yeah.
What? I am going into the belly of the beast. What am I doing? This is horrifying. Like, what am I doing? She is nothing like me. And then I went, God put us in the room for a reason. And the universe put us in the room for a reason. And I went, I am supposed to know her, and I'm supposed to love her, and I'm supposed to be able to have very deep connection with her, because I think there are places where we can come together.
Yeah.
And the reason, my favorite story is, here we are. I think I was in between teaching classes or something at Portland State University. And we went to lunch, and we had a lovely lunch, but the topic of abortion came up. And like we said in the beginning of the live, if you're just coming in, Amy and I don't have the same opinions about abortion. And so, but we were able, yes, Corey, the universe does do an amazing job. We were able to navigate that conversation with such grace.
I think so. And it
such
wasn't
love.
it was messy.
It was messy.
But when you trust
Amy and I have messy conversations.
Yeah. But like when you trust, I think when you trust that, number one, we're not going to get defensive and argue ever, but we'll ask questions and be curious. And that we get to speak our minds and not have to filter anything just because we're different.
Right.
But so when you have this like very foundational, deep trust and mutual respect, we were friends in the fall. This isn't a deep, long friendship forever in life ago.
No, this just happened.
This is a new friendship.
Last October.
Yeah. But when there's that trust, I think you can wade into the messiness without it feeling like a huge risk.
Yes. And so this is your lesson. One of the lessons that I want you to get out of watching this video today is that if you build a foundation of trust and love, and you approach people from like this space that I'm not going to do this right. I might say some stuff that might be like not resonate with you at all. And it could even be offensive, but I want you to know that I'm not doing it because I don't like you or respect you. It's because that's just what comes out of my mouth sometimes.
Lots
and that's
of grace.
Okay. Yeah.
You got to lead with grace.
You got to lead with grace.
Yeah.
And I think that has brought us such strong ability to walk these waters and to talk about the election of 2016 and to talk about abortion and to talk about things that are really complicated.
Yeah.
So you came to me with you said that you have a surprise question for me. So we each have a surprise question for each other.
I do.
So I'm going to let you ask yours first because it's my Facebook Live and I'm in charge.
I need to be fully transparent that I think I know your answer already. But I have a surprise twist to the question.
Yes.
Okay, so the first question, I only have one. The question is, if it's a theoretical or real person, up to you, who is a person that you would say is the least like you? Like nothing relatable, very furthest from you. Is it a real person or theoretically, who is it?
Wow.
Who would you say, I have nothing, I mean, we are so opposite. It would be hard to be in the room with you.
Ooh, God, this is a good question, isn't it? It's not.
It's not Donald Trump? All right.
It's Melania Trump.
Okay, so tell me why.
So here is the thing I went through. Hey, Volker. Hey, Judy. Hey, Ronnie. Oh, this is great. Ronnie's like, thanks for sharing your differences in such a lively and kind manner. Wish we could have more of these relationships. I miss you too, Ronnie. We need to catch up and talk on the telephone, my friend. So it's Melania Trump, and I'm going to tell you why.
Yeah, I'm curious.
So when the election happened and Hillary lost, and I got, thanks. I'm still serious. And I got out of bed about a week later. Judy was actually one of my students that had to deal with me the day after the election, so we had a big boob fest. I thought to myself, okay, well, here we are. What is some good that can come out of this?
Look at you.
And I thought, Melania Trump. I thought she could be the first lady. Clearly something is going on with their son, and we don't quite know what it is. And we may never know what it is. But for me as a social worker, I was like, something's up with that kiddo. I wonder if she's going to take her experiences, as former first ladies have done for pretty much ever, take her experiences, but especially since Eleanor Roosevelt, I think, was the first lady that was very, we all know. Yeah, hello. Where's the camera?
This way.
Wow. Anyway, Eleanor Roosevelt's tattooed on my arm. So, but really, these first ladies have taken that platform and run with it and done really amazing things to impact our community from a very feminine perspective, I think. And I was waiting for her to step up and do something. And I was hoping that she would. And the reason I say that we have nothing in common is because there is no way I would be able to sit back as the First Lady of the United States of America and not find my voice in that platform and in that space. And so that's why I say it's her.
Interesting.
Because
twist. I didn't see it coming.
I know you didn't see it coming. Because I so deeply wish that she would run with that, especially because we just had a very powerful First Lady who we've had several in our lifetime, certainly, that have done really powerful things. I mean, it didn't matter what party they were affiliated with. We had some really powerful First Ladies. What the Bushes did and all of that, all the way down the line. Yeah. That I miss having that influence in the country. Yeah. And I didn't think I did.
Is that the only reason she's totally opposite than you? Is there more? Is that it?
I mean, that's the foundation for it. I have some opinions about Melania Trump that aren't very gracious, and so I'm going to keep those to myself. Let her hold her tongue.
Well, then my second follow-up question might not make a whole lot of sense. But my question was going to be, who are you the least alike that just would really be hard to be with? And then two, I was going to make you tell me how you probably relate on one thing. What's the one thing that you probably do have in common if you were to zoom out?
Melania Trump.
That's right. What do you have? Your moms.
We're moms.
Is that powerful?
Being a mom is super powerful. No matter how you come into motherhood, if you end up being a mom, being a mom, no matter how you come into being a mom, because I came into it not by giving birth, but by falling in love. No matter how you come into being a mom, approaching things from that perspective, from that very maternal, feminine, matriarchal perspective, shifts how you can talk to other human beings.
So you guys relate on something very, very important.
Yeah. Foundationally important, I think. Yeah. So anyway, there we go.
So maybe ask yourself, ask a friend who's at least like you.
I love that.
And what is the thing that you do have in common? Things I've learned in my journey.
Yes.
We have more in common than we have different.
Yes.
With most people.
I think you're absolutely right about that. And I think that the politics and wading into sticky social issues is why people stop themselves from asking those questions and having that conversation. So, and C. Renee says, I had no expectations of her, and she's totally lived down to that. And it's true. Like, she has lived down to that expectation, and it's a bummer. So here, are you ready for your...
I don't know if I'm ready.
Are you ready for your question?
Okay.
So I have been thinking a lot about this because yesterday we had, or Wednesday, our daughter, Gwendolyn, was bullied. And she was assaulted, actually. She wasn't just bullied. She was assaulted. And for everybody out there, the school is handling it phenomenally well. And I'm so excited about being able to honestly say without question that and I say excited because I actually am. I think we're actually shifting into a space where the school is going to look at things very, very differently. And so I'm thrilled about that. But it's been, I've been thinking a lot about it. And we know that I think a lot about toxic masculinity and misogyny and patriarchy because I'm a feminist. I'm a diehard feminist, and that's how I roll. So my question for you is, since the election, okay, and since you have gone through this sort of process of opening yourself up to peeking over the wall, so to speak,
sure,
how are you looking at masculinity and the perpetuation of toxic masculinity through Christianity? How are you looking at how that impacts women, members of the LGBT community? How has your perception of what you thought you knew shifted in the last 2 years?
Okay, I have so many thoughts. So you're going to have to maybe guide me back to the original question a few times. First thought, I have a really unique perspective, at least in the church's role, with the, what did you say? Masculinity. Toxic masculinity. My unique perspective is that my mom is a pastor.
Right.
And so in our particular faith denomination, which is the Free Methodist Church, women can be pastors. And it goes back to John Wesleyan theology, where he interpreted scripture a certain way, gave examples in the Bible of women in ministry. And so I grew up with women in the church. Not that was done well. So there were a few experiences that my mother had in pastoring that were negative, and it was mostly because of a male-female dynamic. And it's something that I know our conference, our church, has really put on the radar, which is important, before the election. So that's an interesting perspective I have on that. I do see, and I do acknowledge, and it is painful to know that the church is contributing to the problem. Really, I mean, pendulum swing, certain faiths, just atrocious misuse of scripture to justify toxic masculinity. Part of your question, though, is since the election, how has it changed? And that one I'm going to have to stew on. I don't know if it has. Okay. You might have to ask me more questions to dig, but right now nothing comes to mind.
So if you you talk in your blog posts about me, you talk about your gay friend that's sort of opened your eyes, and then you talk about racism.
Yes.
And how you are addressing racism. And how that has shifted, shifted for you.
Yes.
I've been listening to a lot of Jen Hatmaker because I love her, and
I met her last fall. Remember?
Shut up!
She gave me a piece of gum, friends. She gave me a piece of gum.
So for those of you who don't know who Jen Hatmaker is, she has this podcast called For the Love.
I've actually never watched it.
And she's in Austin, Texas, and she's a Christian woman.
Hi, Jen.
Hey, Jen. I'm gonna tag her in this, and we're gonna become famous, and it's gonna be awesome. So, but Jen Hatmaker makes me think about things very differently. And one of the things that she has done is she has connected with several African American women in her community to create and amplify an organization called Be the Bridge.
Yes, I've heard of it.
Yes, and I want to start one here in Oregon.
Oh, so good.
Are you ready for that?
Yeah.
Can we do it?
Yes.
Yes, we're going to do that.
Yeah,
we're going to do that in
closer.
Oregon. Yeah. I'm not that far away.
Yeah, it's only far.
She thinks I live far away. I'm an hour away, y'all. Like, come on.
The way she drives, I'm sure if I drove, it would not be an hour.
Well,
anyway,
I have a Camaro, and that's another story.
Be the Bridge.
Be the Bridge is
Google
amazing.
it.
Yes, Google it. I'll put a link in the comments. But what I love about it is it's this way for women, in particular, to come together, Black women and white women to come together and have really complicated conversations around race and racism. And I was wondering why it is in that blog that you decided to address those three things. So my choiceness, my pro-choiceness.
Yes.
My pro-choiceness. The gay thing.
Yeah.
And then
it was more gender
race.
Identity. The
gender identity.
Yeah, because I didn't know what he meant by gender queer and what pronouns to use. So for me,
that's pushed you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pushed your envelope. That pushes my envelope, to be super clear. So
because I'm Black and white.
Yeah.
And when we're talking about gender in these new ways, it's not really black and white anymore. And that
complicates things for you.
Yeah, it's really uncomfortable for me Mm-hmm.
For the record, genderqueer is really uncomfortable for me too.
Why?
I don't know. Because I think it messes with the binary that I've been raised on.
So you don't feel like there's one camp for you?
No.
It's like this messy middle camp?
There's always a messy middle camp.
Yeah.
Isn't that the point?
Oh, no. We try to ignore the messy middle camp.
No, but we love the messy middle camp.
You know what we do? We just acknowledge that there's a messy middle camp, and we honor people.
Right.
Like, it's really not that hard. I mean, it is. It's a leap at times, but it's really not.
Yeah. That's my very best friend in the whole world.
Hi, Kristen.
Hi, Chrissy.
I'm glad you joined.
Me too. So,
Okay,
why did you decide to put all of these
yeah.
things? So you included racism in there.
Yeah.
And why was that important for you to include in the blog?
Yes. Okay. So the blog is about really the morality, like through my faith lens, seeing not just these issues, but really people on the other side. Like, these are real people. And I think that was what was lost on my side of the wall.
Yes.
Race was a completely different thing because it wasn't a morality thing to me. So it did seem a little different than the other two because I don't see race through a faith lens like maybe I would through the others. But it was an example of the movement. Oh my God, Black Lives Matter movement happened. And I decided that if I were to have an opinion on it, I should talk to a person of color. Why are we forming opinions about these things without actually talking to the people
who are impacted?
Now, that might seem simple, but to me, that was actually huge.
That's
like,
the revolution.
I need to go ask someone. I have to go have a difficult conversation. So I looked around my friend group, and there were no people of color, and then my church, and my community, mostly white, Portland, mostly white. So there was an issue there. So I had an Uber driver in Seattle who was Black, and I said, I have a question for you. Tell me your experience with police, with law enforcement. And it was a really brief conversation. He gave permission for me to talk about it. But I did have a more difficult conversation that I talked about in the blog. That was important for me because I brought assumptions to the table and I had to listen, and I got a little defensive. So it was really hard for me to listen and learn and not get defensive, but ask good questions and honor her experience because I can't invalidate what she felt.
And that's what I think is so fabulous about Be the Bridge, because one of our folks here is saying interesting perspective because I do see race through morality and faith lens, and I happen to know that there's a deep because I know in Washington, so I know that there is a deep faith lens there, and I think
it might not just be mine. There might be one, but not for me personally.
Right. And so I feel like it's another place where we can sort of intersect this racism conversation. And I've been talking a lot about the book When They Call You a Terrorist, that's written by one of the women who started the Black Lives Matter movement. And it's phenomenal. You should read it. It's a really easy, quick read, but it will rock your world.
Well, I'm flying to Africa in a few weeks, so I need a book.
You need a book.
That might be my book.
That might be your book. It won't take long to read it.
Another book that really helped me in the race conversation to help me learn. I really needed to learn in a really non-toxic environment of social media.
Yes.
And one of the books, you guys should find it, is called Just Mercy. Have you read it?
No.
Just Mercy. It's a lawyer, an attorney who is Black, and he started serving people on death row.
Oh, cool.
And trying to help innocent people or wrongly convicted or unfair punishment find justice. And it really, it's hard to read.
That's what happened with When They Call You a Terrorist.
Okay.
It'll rock your world.
Yeah.
But
I'm ready to be rocked. I'm not safe.
Yeah.
Safe is safe. I love safe, but
look, Sandy says amazing book. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that, the reason we decided to do this on my F Shit Up Friday is because if there's anything that's going to F some shit up, it is two people sitting in a room, online video with other people. Hi, James Kelly. How are you, honey?
Hi, honey. Oh, I shouldn't call you honey. Hi, James.
Sitting in a room together, having these complicated conversations without yelling at each other or fighting with each other.
Do you have practical tips? Would you have, because say we sat and talked about abortion. Sure. They're probably wondering, holy crap, what was that? What did you say? So do you have practical things you learned?
So the thing that I've learned especially about talking about abortion and Planned Parenthood is, first of all, unless you've actually been inside a clinic, most of the time people don't actually know what happens inside of those rooms. And so I actually think about that when I'm talking to people who say that they're opposed to abortion or they're opposed to Planned Parenthood or whatever that is. I go, my guess is that there may not be a lived experience from being in those rooms and in those spaces, but I've had that. And so I can't jump to those conclusions. And so the very first tool that I use is to not make assumptions about that there will be an immediate barrier there.
What do you mean?
Because there's always room to talk. So even though you're pro-life and I'm pro-choice, I still feel like there are opportunities to have conversation around things. One of the things you and I talked about was maternal mortality and healthy moms make healthy babies. And that was a space where we could actually agree upon. And so taking the time, tool number one, take the time to get to know the person you're talking to and not just assume all of the things. And remember that they haven't had the same lived experience that you've had.
Right.
It's critical to having these complicated conversations about abortion and gun reform and education and Christianity and religion and all the things. Yeah. So the other tool is be nice. Like, can we just be nice to each other? Like, you and I just found out not only did
I gotta defend my walls.
Right? No. Like, not only did we dress the same today, which is hilarious, but we both love quesadillas.
We ate. My friends are gonna laugh when they see this. I made her quesadillas for lunch. Surprise!
And it's so good. But if you and I would have decided immediately from the get-go, whoa, she's super different than me. I don't like what she's got to say.
Defriend.
Unfriend. Unfollow, unfriend. If we would have done that, we would not be sitting here.
Also, listen, I think it's kind of a constant choice for me because there are times when she posts articles after article after article after article after article.
Very article forward.
With very passionate captions. Things very angry that I just like, come on. And I got to make sure.
My default is anger. It's bad.
I got to make sure that I'm not flicking through the opinions of others, but that I still try to be a learner. If I don't agree, at least I can understand more of where you're coming from. And if we can do that, my practical tip for people is when I've chosen empathy, things normally, like, it stays positive. And for us, I can empathize that if you don't define I call it a baby in the womb, if you wouldn't call it life yet, I can empathize why an abortion doesn't seem immoral. And empathy goes the other way, where if you believe it is a child in the womb, why wouldn't I protect it as passionately as if it was standing in front of me as it would be inside? So there's where empathy can go, okay, even if I disagree, I get where you're coming from.
Right.
And if I believed that, I would probably feel the same.
That's the difference.
And then we walk away still not agreeing. Yeah. And it's okay. Right? But we still talk about it because you want to influence me and I you, but slow and organic and
without hating each other.
Yeah.
So this is the lesson. Try and have complicated conversations from a space of love and from a space of understanding that not everybody has the same exact lived experience as you, because nobody does. And remember that there are ways to come together on lots of different things that might be hard for some people, and that's okay. But I think for me and Amy, we're going to keep having really complicated conversations about really tough stuff so that we can both learn from each other and expand how we think about things.
Yeah.
And so that, I think,
no safe corners. Let's come out.
Yeah. Come out.
Let's not be, let's not be alone. I mean,
no, I love it. Coming out as someone who is like, I'll tell you, my complicated relationship with God has been really interesting to come out with.
Interesting.
It's my next coming out.
Yeah, I like it. One of my favorite TED Talks, I forget her name, but it's, if you Google TED Talk, your closet or coming out of the closet, it's a beautiful talk about we all have closets.
Yes.
It's so good. And yours is a faith closet.
Mine is faith closet. Oh, yeah. Growing up LDS and then non-LDS in Utah. Oh, that's the biggest closet ever. And being a feminist and being queer and being pro-choice. Girl, that's a hell of a I love you all for being here. This has been super fantastic. I want to take a special moment to thank my dear friend Amy.
Oh, are you kidding?
Thank you for coming on my Facebook Live. I just honor you and love you.
I love you too.
I think you're amazing.
You guys, we didn't get a chance to talk about it, but you should go to don'tgiveupsigns.com.
Oh, shoot.
No. Let's not make them wait longer.
Okay.
But don'tgiveupsigns.com. Maybe we should have a second one of these.
I think we should do a whole Don't Give Up Signs storytelling.
With more surprise questions. These are great.
More surprise questions. That's going to come. Keep on, follow me. So don'tgiveupsignsmovement.com. I'll put the link in the
don'tgiveupsigns.com.
Don'tgiveupsigns.com. If you follow them on Facebook, it's Don't Give Up Signs
That's
Movement.
movement. That's true.
If you want more of me, birdgirlindustries.com.
Awesome.
You're awesome. Thanks, y'all. Have a beautiful weekend.
Have good conversations.
Don't stop talking. Bye.